Yeah, I'm recording. To me, one of the biggest questions I have is we got to test how if we can do breakout rooms remotely. So in other words, if I can make somebody a co-host and if they could help run the breakout rooms, so they can see where people are, where I'm kind of hosting and they're kind of helping move people around. So that's one key that I'd like to find out today, if we can do that. The other thing I want to ask you, Nathan, about is okay, tell me a little bit. I know you love Facebook, right? You're kind of a Facebook guru. Is that true?
Not me personally, but I do know several people who on my team who are
Okay.
Facebook gods. So they sell Facebook ads. I do SEO services.
Okay.
Lead
Okay. You're an
generation.
SEO guy.
But the point is, we do specialize in lead generation. If that's what you ask.
Okay. Just FYI, guys, I am looking for a Facebook guru for some things that I want to do with the TV shopping that can be done on Facebook and Facebook events and that kind of thing. So if anybody, has the right person, let me know, or let's
Okay.
talk to a few of them or something. How was your guys' weekend?
It went by very fast for me. It was nice, relaxing. Spent some time with a couple friends on the weekend on Saturday. Yeah.
Good. How about you, Mike?
What do you want done with Facebook, Mike? Or we can talk privately, I guess.
Yeah, I'd rather do that. I've got a couple of and also Brent was asking me about the expo. So let's see who else is on here. Somebody else has just joined us too.
Joe.
Oh, Joe's here now. Okay. Hey, Joe. Okay, so Brent, I want to share with you. You asked me about the expo. We got a huge expo
Oh
play,
yeah. Okay.
and we've got a huge opportunity with expo, and also TV shopping and Facebook, Nathan. So we got to kind of bring all the collective stuff into one place where we can really turn it into a superpower that will, really explode for all of us. That's the vision. Vinny's here. Hey, Vinny, how you doing? Welcome. Can you hear me, Vinny? There he is. I'm not hearing you, Vinny.
Yeah, how's
There
that,
you
man?
are. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you again.
Likewise.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? Joe, you hear me? I didn't send out a reminder, so I don't know how many people will be here or not. Maybe it'll just be us. I don't know. But I was working my butt off this weekend, I got to tell you, because it was a hit. Like Paul Benson said, it was a home run. And I think it was for a lot of people. Here's the brains of the outfit, Vanjie now. So, hey, Vanjie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm on Zoom, a different Zoom right now. I'm finishing it, and I'll jump in afterwards. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Excuse me.
Just so you guys know, Yours Humanly, which is the nonprofit that Vanjie helps, they take care of like inner city schools, and they give those kids backpacks and all kinds of things that they need for their education. And I wanted to make that the one of the number one nonprofits that I support, because my kids are Teach for America teachers in Richmond, in some very poor neighborhoods where they live and teach special ed of all things. That's about as hard as you can get. And the parents are so broke right now. It's just really sad. So I want to help them to get a gig I want to help, struggling parents of kids who are out of work, and really help them to not only just find new ways of earning an income in this new economy. But that's a bigger picture. We'll wait for Vanjie, but we'll get started anyway because I'm recording this. So why don't we start with some feedback from you guys? And Joel and Joe have both sent me nice notes about some feedback that they've got, because this is going to be an ever evolving thing, because the world keeps changing and we're going to keep changing too. And we're light, we're nimble, we're digital, so we can change on a dime as things come up that make sense to us. So anybody want to give some feedback, which I'll record and we'll give to Vanjie later on, but just let's get it going, get some feedback at what we could do better. My number one is maybe we could test making somebody else a co-host and see if we can operate the breakout rooms remotely, where I'm running part of it and they're starting breakout rooms and also moving ambassadors to different breakout rooms. Does that make sense?
I can help out with that if you want somebody to step up.
You've got good vision, because the problem is, honestly, you're just looking at a line after line of, just black and white text, and trying to find somebody in there is hard. So if we can come up with some solution on that, that would be awesome. But okay, good. So anybody else with feedback that you want to share before we do maybe a little remote breakout room test? Go ahead, Nathan.
Sure. So one of the feedback I would say is that Vanjie had asked everybody, like surveys, feedback, and said, "Hey, people, how can we do better?" I do that at my events, and people won't say anything bad or negative because nobody wants to be the messenger. Like there's a saying, "Don't shoot the messenger," but the messenger always gets shot. And so what I do is, well, with my team and I, we send out surveys anonymously, like before and afterwards kind of thing. Say, hey, thank you for coming out to our event. We appreciate this. And we have like 3 or 5 questions. If you could be so kind, please answer these. And by the way, these are anonymous. Therefore, you get honest, straight feedback instead of them giving you good, like nice answers, right?
Yeah. I get it. Do you use Survey Monkey or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Survey Monkey, exactly.
All right. Well, do me a favor, and I don't know if anybody can take notes on some of this stuff, but Joe, you love taking notes and organizing things. I don't know. Maybe you could write down that we could do a Survey Monkey and find somebody that can do that for us. Speaking of monkeys, the other thing I'd like to do is have you guys tell me about using MailChimp which is free. But now that you guys got the Eventbrite database, you can start to use something like MailChimp. And I'd love to have you guys. I use a different one. I use a CRM of my own. So I don't use MailChimp, but it's free. And anybody that wants to use that and try it to outreach, that would be awesome, and kind of give us some feedback. You know what I'm saying? So Tanya's here. Hey, Tanya, how you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. You know what? I originally was thinking we were meeting at 5 today for some reason, and then sorry.
No worries. I get it. It's a crazy time, so, okay. Let's see. Joe. Okay. He says he will, he can't hear me. We'll relog in. Okay.
I don't see Joe either.
Well, he was on earlier, so he logged out, and then he's got to log back in, so he can't hear us.
I got on a minute or two late. Has everyone met Vinny?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have. Go ahead, Vinny. Yeah. Okay, Vinny, why don't you do a 60-second?
Sure. So my name is Vinny Camposano, and I represent East Bay Disc Centers. We're a chiropractic.
Can you close the door?
Disc restoration neuropathy kind of health center. And I've been involved with, I do outreach. So we don't do traditional marketing. All of our marketing is done through community outreach. And my job is to get out in the community, introduce our services and myself, and I do a lot of networking. If I may, Mike, I was not an ambassador. I did share some of my comments with Joel, but I have kind of a little list of things. Should I just kind of lead into that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So, just as a participant, I think overall, for the first time around, it was a home run. It was really well done, and other than a few logistical things which we expected, I thought it went very well. The one thing I would say, I was in the 4 groups that I participated in. The distribution of the number of people in each group varied, I'm sure, with everyone. So, for example, my first breakout, I had 3 people plus the ambassador. My second group, I have 5 people plus an ambassador, and then 7, and then 9. So, if you total that, I was introduced to 23 people. Of those 23, I had 3 duplicates. So, in the beginning, where I had 3 and 5, I had 2 of the same people in both of those groups. So that was a little challenging. And the other thing that the other 7 people out of the 20 that I was able to meet with were outside of the Bay Area. Some were in Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. And not that that's a big deal. I think it would have been nice to know that ahead of time. Maybe at future meetings, we can make sure everybody's on the same playing field and they understand that this is a national organization, that people will be participating from various places. I would say that the ambassadors did a good job. I did notice that some were a little bit more equipped than others. Obviously first time. The questions I thought were good. I didn't mention this to Joel. I did look over my notes after I got off the phone with him, and I think the questions were going to be kind of the icebreaker, and then the elevator pitch, or a little synopsis of who you are and who you represent, and then what Joel said, it was supposed to be, what was the ask? In all of my sessions, the question was, who's your prime candidate for a customer? And that may sound like the same, but I think that maybe a little bit more assertiveness in terms of saying, what are you asking of this group that is participating with you?
I agree with that.
And the other thing I thought was, that I wish we had more time for example, when I was in a small group and I had 23 minutes, we found ourselves with a lot of time on our hands after everybody went through the 3 questions. Maybe moving forward, I would recommend that after each person have time to speak, maybe we allow, another 2 minutes for questions, 1 or 2 questions. That might be helpful to try to, because I did get some people.
Let me throw in an idea, Vinny, real quick, that's to play off that, and I'll put this out there to people. There may be a way, especially if we have a good kind of what I would call a board op and operator to help me organize, is it might be a way that people can come back to main hall, and anybody who comes back from a longer breakout room, we put them into what I would call room B. Everybody who says, okay, I had enough in that session, they come back to main hall and they get launched out to one generic room. You see what I'm saying? Sure. That's a possibility. I don't know if we could pull that off, but anyway.
Yeah. What about the idea of when the breakout sessions occur, is there any way for Zoom to allow the breakout to be made up of just people within the same geography?
Vinny, I don't agree with that. I enjoyed meeting people from other outside the Bay Area, and I even met a guy from India. I met people from Canada. I mean, I actually benefited from that. So I wouldn't want to be in just a room with my general geography, to be honest.
Okay, no,
I think it just depends. In Vinny's defense, I think that the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, Vinny, and there are probably other people similar to the way Vinny feels, is that he has a service business that only benefit for him personally. He can only benefit from people in local geography. He's not going to get a client coming to his clinic from Portland.
Right. But at the same time, you have to consider that everybody that is in the meeting is not narrowed into just the location that they're in. And so, you know, while I understand where Vinny's coming from, I had people that I invited that did not know that there were going to be people outside of the area, but they actually liked the fact that people were not just, they said, oh, I didn't realize that there were going to be people in Canada. Oh, I didn't realize that there were going to be people. Oh, so this is more global. So,
it was open to, I mean, the registration doesn't say anything about only register if you're in this area or only register if we didn't put any criteria on it.
Yeah, it's open to everybody.
We had no idea who was going to show up. We had no idea who was going to be here because we didn't advertise that there was criteria for people to come.
Right. So let me clarify. I'm not suggesting that one is mutually exclusive of the other. And I think I articulated it probably a little more clearly to Joe when he and I had a chance to talk. I think it was great that there were people from outside of the Bay Area. I actually made contact with somebody after the meeting and exchanged emails over the weekend. I'm wondering if the structure of the meeting can satisfy both. For example, you know, when we come together as a you know, the home bases, I forgot, Mike, how you referred to it, but everybody from wherever they come from is at that meeting. Maybe we could put a little more structure around that aspect of the meeting.
Let me comment. When you say the meeting, guys, we're not limited. We can have meetings. So we can have local meetings, we can have national meetings, we can have global meetings. So let's just remember that. A couple of things. We're not platform bound to Zoom. And Brent actually mentioned another another platform. I don't want to be platform bound. When you're platform bound, that makes us all just sharecroppers, and that we're all just working on their land and we're doing all the work and they own everything. I want us to be liberated from platforms. And so, you know, that's why I created Noon Webinar Wednesdays, to make it neutral. So we could use the platform that Brent suggested once, or try it for local, or we could use Google Meet for another, or Zoom. So we don't want to be platform bound or limited to one meeting type. There's no reason to do that. It could be local, national, global. So that's why we have these meetings, to get feedback and solve these problems and look at solutions together. So thank you for that, Vinny. Now we have other people.
Mike, I just want to add something to what Vinny was saying and what you are saying as well. Vinny, we had one of the ambassadors from Las Vegas, and one of the things that Mike did disclose to everyone is, as we get more people all over the country, we can have regional Zoom meetings like this. One could be officiated by Ariel in the Las Vegas area. So for example, for you could be the ambassador moving forward, part of the cross-group networking, but as the ambassador for the Portland area. So this is just like the beginning of what the potential of cross-group networking can be. We can have different regional just areas to just hone in and focus on what it is that makes most sense for your business or your industry. And Nathan is all the way up. Are you in Vancouver, Nathan?
Yes.
Yes, as well.
One thing I always have to caution people on: please don't try to understand me too quickly. Don't jump to conclusions. Just wait, let things play out, ask questions, evolve. We have unlimited capabilities here, guys. So there's no reason to put ourselves in any box at all. We can be a lot of things to a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree with I like that, Mike, because I think that was part of us being not being specific about who could register. We had no criteria as far as people registering for this event. And I think that's the right thing to do, you know,
Yeah,
from
we
having
want to
such
be
a
a
big event.
collective
But
where we come together, but through training and connectedness, then reach out to our own individual, you know, it could be a state, it could be an industry, it could be a lot of different things. That's why we're cross-group networking. We're breaking down barriers and walls. We're not building them, we're breaking them down, but giving everybody, I kind of think of it as, you know, where capitalism and community service meet and shake hands. You know, we can all come together,
yeah,
right? And help each other.
Yeah, can I say something for a second?
Please.
You know, at the beginning of the meeting, I think I mentioned this last week, is that the first meeting was a little short and we ended up having to cut people off. But one of the things I think that people that network on a regular basis do, at the start of the meeting, generally they start out with the elevator. So what happened was,
I didn't hear that. They start out with what?
What they start out with an elevator pitch.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what happens is, even though, and I ended up in, I think every room I went into, with the maybe exception of one, there was like maybe 2 ambassadors in each room, like each time that I got switched around. But every time that the question was asked, even though it was icebreaker question, it was clearly explained, you know, that this was the icebreaker question first. We had a couple people that just went into this elevator pitch. And it was like, I think it was just because out of habit, that's was why, what they're used to. So I was just curious, why was the elevator pitch the second question and not the first one?
Vanjie?
And it's because as a group, we thought an icebreaker would be good. And I can see what you're talking about there, Joanne, because 4 of the people that I invited basically said after the first breakout, get rid of the icebreaker, because you'll already know, you know, it's more like a waste of time for them because they are virtually networking constantly. And they don't really need to hear, you know, like, if let's just say it would have been better for them if we had 5 breakout rooms and they would have met 30 plus people. So those are the kind of things that we can have just to get everyone comfortable the first time, maybe have an icebreaker the first breakout. And then as we move forward, just go directly into the pitch as people are doing it. That could be, you know, but as a group, it's going to be a decision that's made by this group, not by one particular person.
I got the same feedback from somebody else too.
Wait. Let me point out something first. Okay. First of all, one thing I want to explain to people is we want there to be benefits to being ambassadors, no doubt. Okay. So the people that are attendees, they get the data from the chat box. Okay. But the ambassadors get the data from the Eventbrite posting. That's more. So we had 120, and next time I would shoot for 200, so that because we put our own glass ceiling on ourselves. So the ambassadors get the Eventbrite database. So even if you don't meet everybody, you can't. But you still get the data, and we're teaching follow-up because the fortune's in the follow-up, okay? So so those are a couple of things that I wanted to point out too. But there are definitely advantages to being an ambassador rather than just an attendee.
I had 3 things that I wanted to bring up. So one thing, I felt like the after party didn't work out too well because everyone was unmuted. So maybe instead of letting it bring up for discussion, maybe we do a Q&A where they chat or put it in the chat, or someone, you know, maybe has a moment. But that part was a little, you can't have open structure like that without people.
I freaked when I started seeing that. I go, this is gonna go badly. So I just, let's bail on this. We didn't have, you know, because everything else was structured, but I totally agree, Brent. We got to figure out a structure for that.
Yeah, definitely. And the next thing, I felt like I don't know if maybe I shouldn't have done this, but I really wanted everyone to maybe speak and, you know, get their full 90 seconds of their elevator pitch. So I really tried my best, and correct me if maybe I shouldn't have done this, but I tried asking follow-up questions. And so things like, you know, what makes you different? How long have you been doing it? What's your favorite part of your job? And so, I felt like that made it so that at least we went into a little bit more into the meeting time instead of having everyone go back into the main hall, where in the main hall it wasn't as much as connecting as maybe they'd like. And so I just wanted to maybe bring that up as an idea for
Let me comment on that briefly. Okay, that's a good and a bad thing, okay? Here's why. It's great to do it, and I applaud you for doing it. We just need to, I found if you ask them a question, they go from, let's say they had 2 minutes, they go from maybe 1 minute to 5 minutes, you know? And so we have to say, now still you have to answer, you have 30 seconds left. Can you give us, when you put out that second question, you have to tell them how much time they have left. Otherwise they think it's a, you know, free open house from then on. It's not.
And I did do that. It was like, I would still mark them short.
Okay, cool. And still use the gong or the, okay, cool. Good job. That's what I thought. That was good. Nathan.
An idea that one of my guys had said is that the ambassadors should identify, do the elevator pitch first at the same time before we go into a breakout room. So let's say there was 12 or 15 of us as ambassadors. So after you and Vanjie talk, and before we get into the breakout rooms, have Vanjie or one of you guys say, yes, everyone, we want to introduce you to all the ambassadors. They'll give their 1 minute or 90-second elevator pitch. Therefore, you'll know who they are. And that way, that's an extra benefit for us as an idea, right?
Yeah, and, well, I think that's a good one too, because then, like Joanne says, it sets the pace about so I don't know if it's best to go first or last, but you do get to identify yourself and give your elevator pitch at the same time. One thing I noticed visually, I've kind of changed my thinking about this. I think it might be better if we all have our cross-group networking ambassador backgrounds up during the opening, because then it shows our uniformity, it shows our collectiveness, and that we have a bunch of ambassadors and who they are. Then when we go to the breakout rooms, then you go from the ambassador to your own personal, you know, background. That would be my suggestion. I think, because I noticed that visually, I thought, oh, we could have, I think, done.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. And then what I was doing when I was in the room is I was switching it. When it was my turn to give my elevator speech, I just changed my background to my personal background. And then I went back to the ambassador slide when I was done talking.
Yeah, I think we need to find the right balance, you know. It'll be different for everybody.
But not all the ambassadors have the capability of the background. So
not yet.
I think that is going to have, if you want to do that, then we have to make that the requirement. They're going to have to get their technology figured out.
Well, that's the branding part of anything. And the more branded we are, the more power we have, and the more networking. And when I say networking, not just person-to-person networking, but see, one of the things that Vinny, you still here?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay, one thing I'm not sure Vinny knows yet is that for the ambassador program, and what I would recommend to everybody, because let me kind of address for a moment the conclusion I've come to about how to monetize this whole thing from a gig economy standpoint, which I've been studying for years, and that people do need a gig today. So if you go to cross group networking, it will say there the fun starts at cross group marketing. And so that we can have that branding and become really a growth network, not just meetings, but a whole network of you know, helping each other grow however big we want to grow.
That was one of the feedbacks that I left. Did everyone get the email that I sent over the weekend?
I like your feedback.
And one of the things was, having a cost to this, because for the two reasons I expressed. One is, when you have a cost to something, a personal investment in something, the likelihood of you showing up is going to be greater.
Right.
Secondly, studies have shown that when you have a personal investment in something, you get more out of it.
Yeah, when people get something for nothing, nothing happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the cost should be. I don't know where the money should go, but I do think the next time there should be some minimal cost.
Okay, so that was Joel's point about charging $10. Don't forget one thing that I follow all of the, I study success stories. That's what I do. I study models that are successful and how can we model them. One of the keys to Amazon growth was a focus not on investor return, but on growing their audience and growing the market. So I hate putting too many limitations on things, because the number one thing we want is Moore's law, that the bigger the network, the more powerful the thing is. So we want to grow the largest network we possibly can grow. However, I think the buy one, gift one free, if we can manage it, and I don't care if it's kind of on an ad hoc or on a basically an honor system basis is probably the best way to manage it, is that if you buy a ticket, you can invite somebody for free. Somebody that maybe is in need, that is hurting.
Mike, I'm gonna suggest. I mean, if the cost is only going to be $10, then that's not a huge significant cost. I mean, people generally can afford $10, and if you can't afford $10, then you're gonna need more help than what this group is going to be able to offer.
Yeah. So
I think if the cost is $10, you put it on there for a registration fee. It's a minimal fee. And I personally think, Mike, that you have gone above and beyond. This has been great. You have done a lot of effort in this. I know we've all worked on this together, but I have no problem putting $10 in the pot and having it go to you personally. If we want to talk about, nonprofit and where it should go, we just need to really be clear with that. But if you want to change I'm in support. I'll just throw it out there. I'm in support of you changing the registration and having a $10 fee on it. And whoever's registered up to this point, you got it for free. And going forward, it's $10. And then we can, let's come up with some ideas on other options on what you want to do with the money. But that's my 2 cents.
I appreciate it. We are going to have infrastructure to grow. So there's got to be monetization for all of our mutual best interests, because otherwise we'll be putting a limitation on our head. And, you have to have a belief system that this is going to pay off for you and work. And if you do, which I 100% think this is the best way to grow any group or business that I've seen. Otherwise, I would add a different component to it. But I think we've got so many winning things here. The other one that I've heard about is Zoom burnout. And we've got a solution for that too. And that is Loom video invitations and Loom video follow-up. So if you guys wanted to use MailChimp and send out a follow-up with a little video, Zoom video or Loom video in it, and send your branding, then you can call them up on the phone and you can talk to them on the phone while you're exercising or walking around the block or do whatever you want to do. You don't have to be anchored to another Zoom call. So we've got so many solutions here, guys, to help many people. And
hey, Mike, I wanted to say this also, just to go back to the elevator pitch part. I don't know if this was intentional, but the screen share was available because during one of the breakout rooms, one of the participants did, instead of the elevator pitch, he did an elevator pitch, but he did a screen share slide.
Right.
And so what I was thinking during that time, because I know everybody in here has probably heard of Zoom bombing, is that if someone came in, for instance, and did something where they Zoom bombed us, we pretty much would have been at the mercy of this person, because it happens. We called the person's name, and then all of a sudden these slides started popping up all over the place. We're like, where is this coming from? And it was his slides. So was the screen share thing available? Yeah. Is that something you planned?
It could be. I'm sure. I'm quite
Joanne, I think, no, when you're doing a Zoom, usually the screen share is only available to the hosts and co-hosts.
It was available. Yeah, no, it was available to one of the participants. I think it must have been available to everybody.
What most likely happened is they probably had different virtual backgrounds. Could that potentially been it?
No.
They did a PowerPoint presentation.
That's true.
PowerPoint presentation in the breakout room.
Yeah,
and it was a full on PowerPoint. I run Zoom every week, so
are you complaining about it, or did you like it? I'm confused.
It's caution.
No, that's not the point. The point of the matter is that the person had access to share screen, which means that if the person decided, if someone came in and decided to Zoom bomb, they would have had access. That's the point.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that out there, because I'm just saying, be aware.
Yeah. I'm with you, Joanne. So you're expressing a caution. Should I disable screen share in breakout rooms? And I think that is a selection.
Yes, because most people gave their elevator pitch verbally and without a presentation. But this person,
and we want them to use the backgrounds, not we don't want them to do a screen share of their own. We want them to use the digital backgrounds anyway.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
that's a point well taken. So I can, I'm sure I can disable that in the setup of the meeting. So, but I have that note.
Yes, you could put a block on that, Mike. It's true.
Right.
And saw the Zoom. There was a meetup. They did a Zoom presentation, and so they've gone through that to protect ourselves, the hosts or organizers, from Zoom bombers. So there are restrictions you could do for that.
Great. The other concern I have is because we are global, I need to look into, and maybe one of you guys know, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's been on my radar, and that is the law in Europe about email and the limitations, and it's super heavy, and that there are British lawyers that are doing frivolous lawsuits that if you send somebody in Europe an email that's not like ADI compliant or something like that, I can't even think of the name of it. I got to find that out, because we have to protect ourselves in the group from sending somebody in Europe an email. Does anybody know anything about that?
No.
All right, well, just FYI, it's something we all got to look into, okay? So if anybody finds anything on it.
A couple of other points that I got. One is having a 5-minute break halfway through, I think is a great idea. Allows people to stretch, go to the bathroom, get a glass of water, whatever they need. I think that's great. Also, ending at 3:55 and have a 5-minute summary of it, maybe asking for some random feedback from people if they want to share, although that could be risky in case it's negative. But also, having a directive, what is it that what you want from all the participants? Perhaps it is to get every participant to invite and commit to invite one person to the next one. And if they do commit, then type "I commit" in the chat box, because then that creates accountability. Or whatever it is. And then at 4 o'clock exactly, let me just finish this. At 4 o'clock exactly, we have a clean break and say, okay, thank you for attending. We really appreciate it. And for those that you would like to stay, we're having a 30-minute after party. So there's a clear definition as to when the official meeting ends and when the after party begins. Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. One thing that I'll call on Joanne for to comment is some of these things are things that have been worked out by Toastmasters, like having a Toastmaster for a meeting, because what I see is we kind of need like a host or like Toastmasters to follow that model that is proven, kind of a presiding officer thing. Then a Toastmaster, like for some of the things like Joel mentioned, that, hey, here's the process of this meeting, here's what we're offering, here's where it ends. And then the kind of the other controller of the breakout room, so that we can more rapidly solve bunching, because we are at the mercy of the Zoom algorithm, especially as we grow. So we want to use it as a benefit, but do a little workaround to maximize it, because it's great, but it's not perfect. So should we do a test of breakout rooms to assign, and Nathan has volunteered to be a controller. So here's what I would like to suggest that we do is to try to make Nathan a co-host, and then see what happens if Nathan is then able to, do you understand how to do breakout rooms, Nathan?
No, I have not done
any. Does anybody here?
Mike,
yeah.
Remember we tried it last time and I could not get into the as your co-host. You asked me if I could see any of where the ambassadors were.
Yeah, but let's try it a different way, Van. So let me try. Let me make you a co-host, and then let's do a couple.
You can have a couple of co-hosts if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you a co-host right now.
But put Nathan on as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, make a co-host. Okay, both of you are now co-hosts. Should be. Okay, now go to the bottom individually of your screen and click on, do you see breakout rooms there?
No.
Click on more and then click on breakout room. See if that is available to you.
It is not. Just like last time. Only the host is allowed to manage that.
Rats. That's okay. Okay, I have a volunteer in that Nancy will sit with me and my wife and be my co-pilot for breakout room. So she's got good eyesight. That's, believe it or not, very important. And so she can point out things and have that, independent help. Really, that's one thing that we need.
I have used the co-host option when I have to leave and someone else takes over the networking event.
Well, if they can't do that, Joanne, let's talk about what the role of how we could kind of have our own little Toastmaster role or co-host role or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you had like a MC person in the beginning of the meeting that introduced you.
Yes.
And I actually thought that he was going to be talking. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I know he introduced you, but then we didn't hear anything else from him after that. So
that was his first one. I was that was Joe Hughes from KCBS Radio, and I was kind of integrating him into the process. I didn't expect everything to happen in the first meeting. So of the next one, I would like to have, like you're saying about him, kind of somebody who does the introduction.
Yeah,
and says,
right.
And now it's time, it's 4 o'clock, so let's do a summary before we move on into the open house.
Right.
And I think you could be because with all of your experience in Toastmasters, you could not only be a great Toastmaster, whatever name we come up with. And
Joanne?
Maybe you are a Toastmaster. Because
I am.
Joanne, Joe came in last minute.
Yeah.
And it was actually designed that he was going to welcome everyone back into the main hall and just basically give Mike a heads up that it's time to move on to the next one. And I think what happened was he was confused about the timing as well.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
initially, as the MC, he was supposed to welcome everyone back to the main hall and say,
Right.
okay, it's now time to go back. And I think because it was our first time, things just kind of just got lost.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that is what an MC should be doing.
Right. Exactly.
And also hosting and I think Mike was like saying that he should host the after party as well. And
Right.
the one thing though is I recall, was it Joel or was it Mike, Martin or Joe mentioned what is the difference between a host and an MC? And perhaps that's where it became kind of convoluted because Mike is our host.
Right.
And Mike, you have such a wealth of information that sometimes it's hard to separate the two. And so as we move forward, if we do have structure, like what a lot of people are saying, like what Joel's saying, if we have structure and make that as our practice, that this person has a role and this is what they're doing and whatnot, then it will be more streamlined and we can definitely create something which a lot of the ambassadors love because we get exposure. We could all take turns as MC for all we know. There's many ways.
Right. Yeah. The MC is basically just setting up the meeting. And so they're kind of outlining what the participants can expect. And then they're introducing, of course, the host. The host comes in and they kind of go through some more information about the meeting, but it doesn't take away, the MC doesn't take away from the host. It's just basically setting things up for the meeting.
Yes.
And to Vanjie's point, it's really difficult to run the whole meeting and stay focused. So on time and everything. So I have no problem with a master of ceremony saying, well, Mike, we got to wrap it up because, I get that. I totally on board with
and
that.
he wasn't, and the reason why we do rehearsals is that you have connectivity with your whole audience as well as within all of the co-hosts, the ambassadors. And Joe wasn't able to rehearse with us. And if he knew the timing, I think we would have been better. Can I just make a quick comment about co-hosts? What I use my co-hosts for as well is if I have, like Nathan and I can share anything within our computer right now. So what I do is if I have a slide or whatever presentation, I would have a co-host do that so that, for example, if it was Mike and he had a slide or presentation, he would designate it to Nathan to go ahead and do that. And he could just talk. And instead of having to navigate it in front of your computer, someone is automatically doing all sorts of other stuff for you. The only thing that has been a challenge for me and for many people is that we can't maneuver the breakout rooms from a co-host standpoint. But there's many other ways that we can help streamline this whole process for Mike. If your co-host can do different things and you don't have to navigate in front of your computer and someone else will do that for you, except of course the breakout room. But at this point, I think we've got a lot of great people here. When we started,
who can MC the after party? Let's talk about that because
okay, Mike,
runs that for me.
Mike, yeah, we can delegate that later, but let's just like summarize and say, okay, today, my preference is to hear what everyone has to say from the event on Friday, and then take all of those notes, incorporate all that. I love what Joel sent us, and we can see the commonality that we need to work on, how we could expand. And like Vinny gave some great feedback, Nathan too. It's nice to get all of this all in one page so that as we start planning, like what you're saying, yes, you need someone to co-host with you at the after party. So those would be the next steps. But today, like we've got 12 more minutes. Let's hear more feedback and how we can get our next event better. Joanne also gave some
well for the breakout room, I just sent Mike a link for because there is something on Zoom to at meetups tomorrow. It's a free online event on practicing breakout rooms. And so you can, I just sent it to you, Mike, by text. So if you get on that, and that might be something helpful, because it puzzles me that you don't have Vanjie as the co-host. It would think that the co-host would have the same access to the breakout rooms that the host does.
There is one more thing that I would like to learn about Zoom too, guys. I just saw that Zoom now can connect to other Zoom meetings. So if Joanne was having her own Zoom meeting and Joe was having his own Zoom meeting and I was running a central meeting, if we could connect out to those other Zoom rooms. I found a tutorial on it. I haven't been able to look at it yet, but these are some things that we all need to be thinking about, because that's how we can grow an entire, a television network, essentially, is what I want to do.
What can I just want to throw something out too, and that is that while everything is fresh in people's minds, it's only been 3 days, people still remember their experiences. If you invited somebody personally to the Speed Network and they attended, I really encourage you, please go back to them, get their feedback, much like I did. Write it down.
I already did. Yeah.
Joanne,
I already did.
Can you send me what you sent Mike to on the Zoom?
I only had Mike's information, so I sent it to Mike, but I'm hoping that he sends it to all of us.
I will distribute it.
I just sent it to Mike because I only had his information. But yeah, it's a free thing, so I think all of us should jump on that and find out as much as we possibly can about it, because there's more to Zoom than we know.
Yeah. Well, we could, like, for example, right now, Nathan and I and Mike can do a polling of what we want to do as well. So that could be another way.
Totally. We got to get a poll into the next one. And Joe, you couldn't hear me at first, but I asked you, and I've recorded this, I asked you, because you love taking notes and organizing things, if you could be somebody that could be the consolidator of notes on this. Is that something you could do, Joe?
Yeah, that's no problem. If everyone sends me their comments, I'll put them all together.
I'll send you the link to this meeting, and everybody gave great comments, so they're all here in this video.
Okay. It would be great if I could get an email, just so I could just.
Okay, so you want an email. Can everybody email Joe with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, can you put your information in the chat?
Yeah, I will do it right now.
Joe, you got my email from the weekend, right?
No.
I think I have everyone's email, but why don't we just put all our email addresses in the chat so that everybody has access to it.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah,
Can I share something?
Thank you.
Or Joanne, are you finished or not yet?
What, Nathan?
I was going to say sharing about the ideas about the question was monetizing, either charge $10 or not. And so I have paid events and free events. So at my free events, it's just a big networking event kind of thing. At my paid ones, I bring in a speaker, have appetizers, different things. So my humble suggestion or humble idea is that because we're brand new, leave it as free, but make it as a donation. So we say to people, do it right up and say, hey, people, if you see value, please donate, because this does cost money. Zoom is not free, not cheap, plus Meetup. So if you see value in this, if you could afford it during this COVID time, please make a donation of whatever you feel like. And if you can't, then don't. Try this out, show value. Even another person.
Mike, is there a way when you set up the Eventbrite to have a donation button or a option to pay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I think that's a great idea, Nathan.
I do too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
It creates the reason I say free and paid is that for the free ones, people, even though they could afford it, they say, I don't think I see value in this, never done this breakout room. And the whole purpose is to create traction. Is so you want as many people as possible and then show value first. Because
they're donating their time. Their most valuable asset that we all have today is our time, and they're donating that to the effort. So
sure.
Yeah.
And another person I learned from is Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He has a famous book called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Yeah, hook. Yeah.
The whole point is give value 3 times,
Yes.
5 times, value, 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 and then then do the ask. And since we don't really have, we could ask for, then we afterwards, I'm just saying, after like say 5 times, then charge a nominal fee when we bring in a speaker about Facebook, Instagram. Say, hey, if you want to learn how to monetize with Facebook or LinkedIn, then it'll be like a $10 small fee, right? As a tripwire. This is a digital marketing trick, right? Give them a reason to come, but give more value first. If that makes sense.
It does. And God bless you, Brent. I saw you sneeze even though we couldn't hear you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. Let's try to get testimonials from the people you talk to.
Oh my, absolutely. I led the video with Paul Benson saying, Mike, this was a home run. So yeah, those are the kind of things that we anything like that. Those are gold bars, guys, for all of us.
And also,
somebody hands you a really cool testimonial like that, they're handing you a solid gold bar for our future. And we want a bunch of them. Okay. So,
and also I think we should reach out to everyone that attended the speed networking event. So if we could get a list of who you're contacting, then we know who else has to be contacted, and we could divvy that up among the group.
Well, you have the email list, so can you just send out, when you send out the survey, can you attach something in there where they provide a review?
Who's going to do the survey? Who's going to do the poll? And how are we going to define the after party? We have 10 minutes or 5 minutes to solve those things.
Well, if we're going to do a survey, does anyone have suggestions on what the survey questions should be, other than how did you find the speed networking event?
Can we put all of our suggestions into an email with Joe so we can consolidate all of them, since we only have 5 minutes?
Yeah, then we could choose what to say.
Yeah.
I could send out that survey.
Okay.
Okay. Mike, I never got the Excel spreadsheet of all the attendees. Were we supposed to get that?
I sent it off. So did anybody get it?
I did not get it.
I got it. Yes.
I got it.
Check your emails, guys, because I sent it to everybody.
As an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, I didn't see it right away, Joel. It was like kind of mixed in. He had just like a one-liner on the bottom part that said that it was attached.
Do you know what the subject line of the email was?
I don't. Okay, well,
I'll find
what do you want me to say? Like, just tell me how you want me to identify it or whatever you want me to do. But
just say Excel spreadsheet of
the subject line that reads "Ambassadors, here are the leads and edited video recording."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. It was on May 16th.
May 16th,
Mike.
Okay.
Yes.
I try to be clear, guys, but
okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was the last thing you said on the email. It was very small, so I almost missed it myself. So.
Oh, okay. I probably did get it.
Didn't Mike just say it was the subject of the email?
The subject.
No, I meant when in the email when you said the Excel sheet was attached, it was at the very bottom of your email.
No, it's in the third.
Oh yeah,
third line. Eventbrite leads are attached.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
It's there. You're right.
And it's way at the bottom of the page.
It's way at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Now, what's the after party, guys?
Well, idea,
Nathan,
is that we could put the people in. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you make Vanjie me co-host for the next one. And so for the after party, we say to people afterwards, wrapping up, so from 2 to 4, we say, thank you for coming out, people. But by the way, we're having after our party. What does that mean? Is that if you had connected with a few people that you would like to talk to, we could put you into small breakout rooms. So if you like to meet other people who are in financial services, mortgage broker, which is Brent or Tanya, like to speak to you guys privately in a breakout room, then Vanjie and I could put them into a breakout room or 5 people kind of thing.
I think that is cool. I like that idea of getting into your own breakout rooms. If we could do that, but I'm not sure we could do it because you can't really do the breakout rooms, but maybe we could here. But the other thing we need is some fresh energy, where you guys kind of, whoever's the co-host of the after party, okay, I do a baton shift, pass. And now for the after party, here's our masters of ceremony, fresh blood, fresh energy, fresh focus, because by 2 hours, it's tiring,
Yeah. I like if maybe that's in the training, the Zoom training that Joanne and Brent were talking about. Maybe we can get some ideas after we go through the training on how we could do the after party.
Okay, so we've got some ideas in the after party. We still have to work out the details. We're in agreement on the donation. And then what else do we need to solve? Oh, the poll is to be determined after we get some feedback, I guess. And
okay.
Here's plan B. If we cannot, if Vanjie and I, or if the co-hosts do not have the power or authority to do the breakout rooms remotely, plan B is to say, hey, people, if you guys have time as an after-hour party, we'll stick 10 or 12 people into a room so you can meet other people. And if you did meet the people beforehand and you don't want to meet again, come back to the main hall and we'll stick into a different one. So we'll make the last one as the after-hour party a bigger breakout room, if that makes sense, right? Of 12 or 15 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just everybody think about it, and that we'll come up with something.
Okay. One last thing to talk about. So is the next time we meet is noon webinar Wednesday?
Yes.
Are we gonna continue this conversation then?
We can. Don't forget, it's always an open house, and anybody. Now, Vinny was an exception, and Joel asked if it would be okay if we had Vinny in. But the noon webinar Wednesdays is the open house, okay? Vinny is happy to say yes to come.
Okay.
But ordinarily, what you want to do is bring what I would call newbies into noon webinar Wednesdays first. That is the open house. Then we sort from there into the ambassador meetings, the organizer, because people have to understand what they're going to. This is an organizer meeting. It's not a networking meeting.
So Mike, I'm just trying to get my calendar straight for this week.
Yes. To answer your question.
So we're meeting at noon on Wednesday. Are we still meeting at 2 o'clock on Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't do this Wednesday because I actually have a standing noon Zoom. So I'm trying to integrate between this and the other one.
That's fine. So we'll see you on Friday then, Vanjie, and we'll talk more about this. We'll get Joe all the comments, and we'll talk about that mostly on Friday. Then didn't we discuss that we were going to be meeting at 5 o'clock on a Monday or something? Did we decide that or not?
No, we have not decided that. It was discussed for Ariel and for other people that want another meeting time. So that is still in play. If it is Monday, I'm awful in the afternoons because I start at sometimes 2 in the morning.
So I'm this week we're just doing Wednesday at noon and Friday at 2. Nothing else for this week?
Not for now, unless you guys want to firm up something that we all agree on, because I'm open to that, but we haven't firmed it up.
What is happening on Friday at 2 o'clock? I have an appointment. What are you guys going to talk about?
It's an organizing meeting.
This is continuing this discussion, Nathan, and finalizing up what we've just been talking about now. So whatever Joe whatever comments we get to Joe's going to consolidate it. He's going to present it to us on Friday. That's going to be the start of our Friday discussion.
Right. All right. Brent's got to go.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Vinny, for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you can be an ambassador too. Vinny, you can be an ambassador if you want.
I told Joe I'm certainly interested in getting more involved. I've been to one meeting. I met with Mike individually, I'm trying to, we have 2 offices and it's just the doctor and I. So managing 2 offices, my time is very constrained right now, but things seem to be opening up and I'm certainly interested in doing more with the group.
Good.
Oh, good. Great.
Welcome.
Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody take care. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye-bye.
Stay safe.